Okay, so I wish I didn't have to make this video right now, but we do have to address it. We've got a big week in crypto, a big week as it pertains to overall markets. Of course, we've had these geopolitical factors, macroeconomic factors happening, and now we've got more information coming out about COVID lockdowns. And we have to address it, because it can go a couple different ways. When we first had COVID lockdowns back in 2020, it was actually really good for crypto. If you remember, crypto actually took off because people had more time on their hands. They were at home. They were looking for ways to diversify their wealth, maybe with all of the uncertainty going on in our world. But as time went on, it really impacted the markets in a negative way. What happens now? I don't know. I wish I had an answer. I'm just bringing you information that I think is pertinent, that's important to know in terms of what's going on in our world and how it could potentially impact our markets. So with that being said, I want to dive in here because this is an article coming straight from the New York Times. China's COVID lockdown set to further disrupt global supply chains. A surge in Omicron variant infections has prompted Chinese authorities to lock down residents, close factories, and stop truck traffic. And we've got another headline over here saying rising COVID cases in China seen as test for zero tolerance policy. Also news out today that there are cases rising in Europe as well. New infections more than doubled in a day to a 2-year high, raising concerns about the economic costs of Beijing's tough measures to contain the disease. In populations where there are so many people in a small space, obviously that is not good for an infectious disease like this. But a total of 3,500 domestically transmitted cases with confirmed symptoms were reported on Monday across more than a dozen provinces and municipalities, up from 1,337 a day earlier. That is coming from the National Health Commission. Most of the new cases were in the northeastern province of Jilin. So with all that being said, we've also got big news on the Federal Reserve front. And of course, that meeting is set to happen tomorrow. So here are some things that we need to know in terms of the Federal Reserve and what is to be expected at this meeting. So the Federal Reserve meets this week and is expected to begin unwinding the massive economic help it provided during the pandemic. What this is going to do to markets, we don't know. Just recently, about a week ago, we hit record high inflation numbers. That is the largest inflation number, nearly 8%. That we've seen in the last 4 decades. Okay, there are rising recession concerns happening right now. Everything that happened in 2008 or pre-2008 is happening right now. So I'm putting all this information out there. I'm getting you prepared for the worst because I think as investors, we have to do that. We have to prepare for the worst. Of course, we can hope for the best, certainly. But the more we know, the better we can respond to macroeconomic factors that are lining up right now and indicating that some things could be on the horizon that, let's just face it, are not good for markets. Now, that process in terms of the Federal Reserve meeting will likely start with an interest rate hike of a 0.25 percentage point. However, policymakers also will update their outlook for rates as well as GDP, inflation, and unemployment. So we're expecting to hear something on all 3 of these fronts in addition to interest rate hikes here in the quarter. So at the last update, officials projected inflation would run at 2.7%. Obviously, a massive undershoot of current conditions because I just mentioned we are much, much higher than that, nearly 8% right now. And that report came out relatively, a short time ago. So this is going to be very interesting. In terms of the markets, they have no doubt that the Fed will enact some type of increase of a 0.25 percentage point or 25 basis points at the meeting. Because the central bank generally doesn't like to surprise markets, that's almost certainly that will happen. Of course, we'll have to wait and hear from Jay Powell tomorrow morning. I'll have some information on that as we have it tomorrow. So, but where the committee goes from there, however, it's hard to tell in terms of that small increase or 25 basis points. Members will update their projections through the dot plot, in which each official plots one dot on a grid to show where they think rates will go throughout the entire 2022. Of course, that'll be, just a projection. Of course, we don't know for sure. But again, to recap here, we've got cases of COVID causing more lockdowns in China right now. Again, we're trying to get out ahead of this right now because, of course, we've got a ton of other things happening in our world too. Already rising inflation. We've got a war going on. So a lot of uncertainty out there in the markets, whether it's crypto or traditional. But even with that being said, there are opportunities. There are things that we can do now, whether that's, if you're in a crypto time right now where you've made some money, maybe you're moving some things to stable coins. Maybe you're getting cash on hand in case of a major dip where then you can re-inject that money back into the market and buy at a lower price. That could be one area. But even with all that being said, we are seeing opportunities in the crypto market. There are still opportunities, especially in these low-level market caps where you can get in early, make some nice profits, maybe be a little less risky during these times, right? When you get a little bit of profit, take it out, stick it away, store it away, and be ready for a potential recession. I hate to talk about it, but it's real. It's happening. So we've got to address it. Again, hopefully you get some value out of all this. Let me know your thoughts about all this down below. I'd love to get your insight because I just came across this information, so I'm still kind of making sense of it. But I wanted to put this video out ASAP so people can get this knowledge. And again, big meeting tomorrow. We'll have the latest on that as well. Thank you so much for stopping in. I appreciate it. And again, your thoughts down below in the comment section. Also, like the video if you're liking these updates. Thank you. See ya.